Oops, let me get back to. There we go. All right. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I know the weather's been pretty nice just about everywhere around the country, so hopefully you got get some time outside. We've got a great new guest for us today. We've got Randall Standard, or as I call him, Randy, because I've known him for a million years. He's got a really interesting company called VoicePad that some of you may be using or may have heard about. But he's got a particular new program about how to do virtual open houses on a daily basis, which of course are things that are getting more and more popular, as we know, and frankly are working better and better to help actually sell real estate. So welcome, Randy. Great to have you with us today.
It is so happy to be here, and it's so good to see you, Marilyn.
You too. So for those that haven't been on before, just wanted to remind you, or even those that have, we've got a question box on the right-hand side. So if you just click the little gray triangle next to the word questions, you can open that up and then ask us anything that you'd like. Good morning, Mary and Philip and Tim. Thanks for coming in. Happy Monday to all of you. So yeah, let's just jump in. We've got some really cool stuff here. So again, Randy is the CEO of VoicePad. The company's been around now, I think, what, 14 years or so, Randy? 12 years?
Well, I started in the basement in 2001, came out of the basement in 2003. So, but yeah,
you know, longer than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting ride. I mean, when we first came out, this was before the smartphone, and at VoicePad, we were fortunate enough to develop the ability to search the MLS, the entire thing, from a touch-tone phone. That's kind of how we launched, and that has, you know, obviously we've done well with that product, but we've got new ones. I think they're a little bit more attuned to where the market is right now.
Gotcha. Well, good. Well, let's just jump right into this with, you know, the first question I had, you know, I love to, on our show here, teach people about sort of new concepts. And this isn't really new, but I think the way you've sort of branded this as sort of premises-based or curbside marketing is a really interesting way to think about it, because we all know that that curbside and where that yard sign is probably one of the most important places in marketing. So tell us about that. What do we mean when we say premises-based marketing?
Well, I mean, the need for it evolves over time. A lot of it depends on what's the most valuable thing that you want someone to do when they're in front of the house. And if you look at a lot of real estate signs, there's a whole lot of phone numbers, but sometimes people just want to schedule a showing. They want to receive a virtual tour from in front of the house. That's what premises-based marketing is. You pick the most important thing that you want a potential buyer to do when they're in front of your house. And unfortunately, call me is a little bit harder than scheduling a showing at the curb with another company. So what we're aspiring to do is to make that most valuable component, which is setting the appointment, whether it's virtual, whether it's live, depending upon where you are, is just to make it easy.
Gotcha. But that's a really important point, though, to recognize that somebody in front of a home isn't necessarily ready to talk to someone, but they may want to learn more, or like you say, they may want to actually see the home. And, you know, we've talked, I know in the past about this, that if someone is if they're right in front of the house, they are by definition a little bit more well qualified than someone that's looking on the internet. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and the other good thing is that unlike the web, when you're at the curb, your leads that you get from it include a phone number, which is the most valuable thing for a real estate agent, as opposed to an email address. And, you know, to give you a little bit of background, my wife has been a realtor now, I guess, for about 7 or 8 years, and she can directly attribute half the business that she's done in her career, either directly or indirectly, to an open house event. I've always been intrigued by that, and it is a big piece of marketing. And rather than having your wings curtailed, we think this is a great way to initiate something that doesn't require a whole lot of people being in the house at the same time. I mean, it's an organized approach to setting showing appointments from the curb.
And I mean, I gotta believe that, and you know, I'd love to hear your wife's perspective on this too. But if people get used to these, which they clearly are. We're seeing more and more virtual open houses happening around the country every day. Don't you think it actually could help an agent too, where the consumer looks at, 10 virtual open houses and then decides the 2 that they really want to go see?
Yeah, I mean, whether you're delivering back, and in our situation, a calendaring interface, or if you just want to send back a previous virtual tour that was done before, even easier. Either way, because they texted in, you've got the phone number, you know the house that generally they're interested in. And if they happen to call in, we can cover that a little bit later. It's a pretty fancy way of making sure that someone's always available to take that call, because that's the money call. The worst thing in the world, and understand this is not information delivery at the curb. This is setting the showing appointment at the curb. This is something that only a licensed real estate agent can do. Zillow can't open a door, only an agent can. So this is a tool specifically for the listing agent, and it's a way for them to capture more of the commission dollar.
So Dennis is telling us, Randy, that in his area, he said there's tons of riders that say, text number for more information. He sees that all over the place. So it's a pretty common concept. But what you're doing is taking it to another level, it seems like.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who have patched things together, and I think what makes them look similar is the fact that it's some variation of open house. What we've done is try to put a structure together so that it can be managed better, both by text and by phone. If you want, we can kind of go through this, and I'll be happy to go over it with you.
Yeah, I definitely want to do that. Let me just ask you a couple more questions, and then we're going to jump in, because I think our audience is going to be excited what you've put together. But what would you say right now that listing agents should not want potential buyers doing at the curb? What's the worst thing that can happen right now?
Well, I mean, because seeing a house is kind of the listing agent's prerogative. I would think the most valuable thing that someone can do at the curb is to pull up in front of one of your listings and basically go to Zillow to set the appointment and bring an agent who knows nothing about the house into the picture. So, this is that exact moment when a listing agent gives away half the commission. And that's really what this is about. Let's go ahead and make the process of setting that showing appointment. You're here. You don't need to go to a third party to do this.
Gotcha. And what would you say, in today's times, but I think we're all feeling like finally we're going to be starting to open up, and each state's doing it a little bit differently, but we're starting to feel like we might be able to, see each other again. What do you think is the strongest call to action in real estate right now? What's the best way to get somebody really engaged for you?
I get tied. If you're looking at a yard sign, the call to action, of course, is having a yard sign there at all, presenting it for sale. But if you really break it down, the thing that catches people's eye most often is open house. It is a subset of properties, and it's basically an invitation to see more about this house and let me as the listing agent show it to you.
Gotcha. All right, well, let's jump in and see what you've got here, because it's pretty cool.
Sure.
Yeah, so let's just talk about what does this mean, open house every day? How does that work?
Okay, basically, it's the strongest call to action in real estate. And you'll notice this sign, we have virtual showings every day. On the sign that you see here, it has open house, but it also has a camera. Basically, you can either call the number on that sign, or if you were to text open, you'll see the calendaring interface next to it. And this calendar is interesting. It'll let you set an appointment anytime in the future or today that you want. But the listing agent has the ability to put like a 3 or 4 hour buffer before the next showing appointment, and not to schedule any showing appointments past 6 p.m., for example. So when this calendar interface comes up, it is associated to that number, which that number is associated to a single listing agent. That's really what this process is about. Make it easy. And if you make it easy for me, I'll set the showing appointment with you. And that's kind of the key. Just text open to the number, and it will bring up that agent's preferences for scheduling.
And that can be for a virtual open house or for a live open house in markets where you can do those?
Yeah, and for example, virtual open houses, we've got signage for that, but even with the camera on the sign, you can set these appointments, whether they be virtual or live. It doesn't really matter if it's virtual or live. The most important thing is to set the appointment, because you can't let a bunch of people in at once. They have to come through in a single file. And, you know, homeowners really appreciate this because it limits the amount of people in the house, and the showing appointments can be done by the listing agent, or we can have agent showing partners that would be probably more available. They can send their calls to their agent partners, so they'll ring them all at once, simultaneous ring. The first one to accept the call means they're available. They get introduced to the client, and that way it becomes a referral income source. And unlike a traditional open house, and that's why we led with open house every day. It has a strong call to action, but by putting the camera on the sign, it makes it more tolerable, I think, for other agents and the homeowner.
Gotcha.
And by the way,
really...
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, it's really interesting that you've anticipated what you know agents might need from the virtual perspective right now, but you've also accommodated for the fact that there are places where we are open, and hopefully eventually we're all going to be open. So this concept will live on. It's not just something that's for right now.
Yeah, and to be completely honest with you, there are a lot of live showings going on throughout the country on a daily basis, but the virtual numbers for those areas that are better suited to it, or for the comfort of the agent, like I said, you're setting appointments and you're making it easy at the curb, because there are a lot of unrepresented buyers who are traveling around looking at homes all the time.
So Michael has a question. He said, can agent to agent showings be scheduled through the system as well?
Yeah, basically one of the first questions when you call an agent's open house system, it'll say, welcome to open house every day by Randall Standard at ABC Real Estate. And the next question is, are you an agent or represented by an agent? Please press 1, otherwise press 2. We have the ability to separate those calls. One goes to a showing coordinator, but if they're unrepresented, then it comes to you or one of your showing partners, because that is the type of lead that other agents want. And truthfully, the hardest thing to do in an open house is to ask this question: are you working with another agent? To a certain extent, we want to take care of that up front. Now, buyers are liars, we know that, but at least we can filter them out somewhat and separate what presents the greatest opportunity from those who just want to schedule a showing appointment.
Interesting. Okay, great. This is really cool. I love this stuff. Okay, tell us more about this.
Okay, I'm waiting for the screen to change, but if you tell me, yeah, there it is. This is just, all it is the 2 variations of signage. If you go to our website, voicepad.com, and click on open house, you'll see about 70 different sign images. Some people don't want text. Some people only want to talk to people. So you can actually take the text option off. All of the sign downloads are free. So you can pick the one that suits your coloring. You can fit the one that suits what you want to do. Some people may only want text and not want phone calls. Those signs exist there as well. It's whatever your preference is for handling showing appointments.
So with the virtual showings every day, are agents doing live virtual showings every day, or have they recorded it, or how are they handling that? Because seems like quite a bit of work. But
so let's say that somebody texts open. The listing agent has a choice. They don't have to set we don't have to display the calendar. We can actually just text them back a link to the virtual showing that was done previously. The most important thing is the lead has been created at that point. So you can just deliver it to them if you're busy.
Lisa has a question. If your area has a scheduling service, probably like a Showing Time, Lisa, or one of those, can it be forwarded to that service so it can be integrated with the 2 of those?
If you have a private Showing Time number, for example, you can send all of the calls there. I would suggest that people ask the question, are you represented or unrepresented first? And that way we can send the represented people and the agents to one location and the unrepresented buyers to another. So, or you can have them all go to the listing agent. I mean, the beauty of the service is it's not an expensive service. It's a service that the listing agent controls, and it's $39 a month.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it's kind of the final mile, right? If someone's in front of the house, their likelihood that they're more serious than average, probably a lot more likely than they're more serious than average, right? So to try to take some extra marketing budget and apply it to making sure that you never miss someone that's driven by and says, wow, that's a neat house. This
That's
makes
right.
a lot of sense. Yeah.
And I think that there is an aversion to making that phone call. And then it goes back to what I was saying earlier. If the only calls to action that an agent has on their listing signage is call me, you're really inviting other sources to kind of fit in and take half that commission.
Right. Because if they don't want to call you, they're going to go look it up somewhere else, and then they go away. They're leaving you. That makes a lot of sense.
Now we got somebody else getting half the commission coming into the picture. So if they're in front of the house, it's premises-based marketing, curbside marketing is unique in the fact that it's the only place that an agent can advertise exclusively. There's nobody else that gets to put signs in your listing yard. So the other thing is it's the least expensive way to advertise. So what we present as far as open house every day is maybe you should do it for the first 2 weeks of the listing. It's going to basically generate even more opportunities. It's going to reduce the time to close. And by doing that, you have an excellent listing presentation that allows you to do something that no other agent's going to offer. If you think about the ubiquity of digital listing presentations, there's a certain sameness about them. It doesn't really construct agent effort. And what this does is open house every day is a very strong offering to say, I'm different than the other agents. I'm going to work harder to basically get this house sold sooner. I'm going to throw everything at it.
I got to believe that helps people get listings. Do you have any stories from some of your current clients that talk about how that works? That seems, just thinking about it as someone that if you were selling your home and someone said, I'm going to have an open house every single day for the first 2 weeks because I want to gather all of the local people that are interested in your house really quickly. That sounds awesome as a consumer. Do you see good success with that?
It's even better. We have certain clients that have put the everyday open house showing appointment number in the notes of their listings on the MLS. And the funniest one is one of our earliest customers. He goes, we've already got 10 buyers and we haven't even put the signs out yet. So putting this type of call to action in the notes is an excellent way to even drive this outside of the yard.
That's awesome. That makes a lot of sense. We've been doing on earlier coffee chats, Randy. We did some things on reverse prospecting in the MLS,
right?
Where you can find potential buyers that are interested. This is another way to kind of do that, but in a much more proactive way. It's really exciting.
Go ahead, please.
No, go ahead.
No, I said it's a little bit selfish, but it is maximizing the opportunity that a listing agent has in the yard. And the other thing about the call to action as opposed to information is, like I said earlier, the only way you're going to get into this house. And there are a lot of people who prefer to work with the listing agent directly, especially in some of these markets that are still tight. There are obvious reasons for that. This just makes working with the listing agent a little bit easier.
For sure. Now, one of the things that I love about what you're talking about is, number one, capturing leads, but also capturing highly interested leads. So once I've grabbed, so I've looked at I'm in front of your house. I think it looks really neat. I text 502-287-1818 from my phone. You've now captured me as a potential buyer. Is there a way to connect that information into my client relationship management software so that I can continue to follow up with those people that have been in front of the house?
Sure. I mean, some of the larger portals we already have integrated with them, with Top Producer, with some of the other ones, so that these leads can go into the same funnel. Usually there are easy ways to accomplish that. We've done it with so many people. I'm afraid to go through the list right now. But what we will do is immediately text the agent. All of the leads are kept on an online dashboard so you can get back to them. And if you give us the email address to your CRM, we'll also send it there. And that way the leads will be populated where the agents are most likely to see them.
So what's the best way so again, someone's pulled up in front of the house, they've typed open. What's the best action from there that an agent can create to make sure that they're going to do their absolute best job to make that the potential for a buyer? What should they be doing? What's the activity after it comes to them? What should they be doing?
Oh, I think first of all, when you'll know when these calls come into an agent because the caller ID will be seized. So an agent will know that this is an important call. That's the first thing. What we've learned, and it's not just real estate agents, it's all of us. If we don't recognize a phone number, we tell ourselves, if it's important, they'll leave a voicemail. And that's probably one of the greatest mistakes. And one of the things we work towards at VoicePad is to make sure that people know that this is a lead call and not just another salesperson calling. So when they answer, yeah, so when they answer and you go, hello, I bet you're in front of one of my listings. And they'll say, well, I am. And we actually, on a text, will take the geolocation and send the lead with a map so you'll know exactly where they are. If you know some of our previous products, we used to put codes on the bottom identifying a single property. This way, we use the GPS location and the signs work the same. And you can use the same sign on all of your listings, not just one. And that's really where it makes a lot of sense because you're setting appointments on all of them. The other way I'd mention is if you've got a listing that's not selling and you anticipate that there's going to be a price reduction in the future, we suggest doing everything you can as an agent before you make the suggestion to lower the price. And this is that other utilization for this. We're going to throw the stops out. We're going to try some things for the next couple of weeks. Maybe you should go to Florida, take a vacation because it's going to get busy around here.
Gotcha. And for $39, you could take a shot and hopefully get some very interested buyers. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, you buy the product because you have listings, or you buy the products because you want listings.
Exactly.
Okay.
So let's explain how this whole thing works because I think it's really interesting. It really puts the agent in the middle of everything.
I'm going to start with the bottom left and kind of work my way up under what caller's here. So somebody calls the number and it says, welcome to Open House Every Day by Laura Smith at Town and Country Realtors. Are you working with an agent or are you an agent or represented by an agent? Press 1. If you're not, press 2. Then those 2 calls can be routed to different people if you want. The next one you'll see up here is please hold while I connect you. This call may be recorded for security and training purposes. This is something that a lot of teams, and if you're going to have agent showing partners, you can actually record their interactions, okay? And it's a safer way to do it, but you can also do a lot of training. If you hear how people are handling leads, and if you've got a showing partner that just botches it continuously, you can hear it, you can send it to them, you can train, or you can just not let them take those calls anymore. That's the power of it. Now, what you'll notice down here in the diagram is that you'll see that it can go directly to the listing agent, or if the listing agent has, a team or 3 or 4 other people, showing partners, it'll ring all of them at once. So they'll answer it and it'll say, I have an open house lead, press 1 if you're available. If they press 1, we introduce the person at the curb with the listing agent at that point. And once that agent, because we've spoofed the caller ID, once that agent has been first in the queue and chosen to take the call, we'll send them the copy of the real lead with the real phone number at that point. Now, you'll see down here in the bottom right-hand corner, that's where if you have an existing CRM, you can put the link in there and it will basically populate your CRM. On that email that the winning agent gets, they'll also have the ability from an email to write notes about the showing, and it will be basically brought up into the dashboard. So we'll have a recorded conversation, we'll have notes done by a showing partner, And if you're a successful agent, you've probably been talking yourself out of doing open houses for a long time because you just can't get to them all. This is that tool that allows you not only do it on Sundays, but you can do it every day of the week. And you can generate leads and you can set the showing appointments one at a time. It's just, all we're doing is replacing the out of control process that a lot of open houses have been for a long time. I'll give you an example. My wife just sold her first $1 million listing. It's so exciting. But anyway,
Yay.
she's doing the open house and she goes, Randy, you got to stand over here in this corner. Okay. And this was before everything happened, and make sure nobody steals anything. I've done that job before. And that's just another reason that a lot of open houses in the traditional format have gotten old, and there's just a better way to do it, and nobody has to sit in an open house anymore on a Sunday.
Good point. Interesting. Okay. So you're basically walking them through the whole thing, but you're getting, I just love this idea of, I mean, if another agent comes in and they say, right now, they're not doing any, well, they may be doing some open houses, but they're not supposed to be, right? But they can't really get too aggressive about promoting it. You're going to say, hey, don't worry about that. I'm going to do an open house for you every single day. I'm going to do 20 times more.
If you're in a listing presentation and someone wants to sell their house and you tell them, I'm going to do something that no one else is going to offer, you're going to win more. I can sell real estate by saying I'm going to do an open house every day. But it's not invasive, and it takes a little bit of explaining to the homeowner that, hey, this is a safe process and I'm going to control it. And only the people that I know and trust are going to be the ones showing the house on this.
And only when you want me to as well.
That's true. Yeah, I'll give you 2 hours notice. But I would tell homeowners, for the next 2 weeks, let's keep it show ready clean. All right. Because there's going to be a lot more activity than normal. We're going to advertise this in multiple ways. And this way from the curb stands out, and it permeates a lot of homeowners. They see the manifestation of effort for an agent in really 2 places. And it's negotiations, well, 3 play. Negotiation, the listing presentation, and the open house strategy. 1, 2, 3. That's where you see your agent. So we're hoping to help the open house part of it, since that's kind of collapsed right now.
That's awesome. Great. I love it. I think it's an awesome idea. Super smart. What are we looking at here?
Okay. This is the dashboard. I wanted to point out a couple of things. It's just an image. You'll see down there where it says call recording and agent registration filter. If you don't want those 2 features, you just simply turn it off, and on the phone it disappears. The lead recipients, if you have showing partners, you can put people, says, okay, on Wednesdays you're going to get all of the showing appointments. On Thursdays, Jim's going to get all of it. You have a complete calendar to set who's going to receive these calls at what time. And all of a sudden, it becomes more of a business than it is a product, because you're controlling what's being said. You're controlling, who's getting those calls. You're controlling, what's being said on those phone calls, and we're recording them. So it's a pretty neat, concentrated tool for a single purpose activity.
That's great. Well, good. I think, do we have our video now? Let's see. Yeah. And so I'm gonna try to play this video, guys. If it isn't working, just put a note in the box for me, and we'll stop it. It's only about a minute long, and if it doesn't work, even if it does work, we're gonna put a recording for it in the recording article and email blast you get from us, so you can take a look at it. But let's give it a shot and see what happens.
Let's give it a little premise first, okay? This is the call.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is all it is an audio recording, and it's the call as an agent that you never want to get.
Okay.
Hi, this is Jim with Town and Country Realtors.
Hello, Jim. This is Margaret.
Oh, hi, Margaret. It's good to hear from you.
Jim, I wanted to get back with you regarding the listing of our home. Both Carl and I were very impressed with you.
You're very kind. Thank you.
But we've decided to list our home with Jan at Uptown Realty.
Oh, I know Jan. She's a fine agent. I'm sure she'll do an excellent job. Margaret, I'm trying to improve as a professional. Could you tell me what I could have done to get your business?
Of course. Jan offered to do an open house every day for the first 2 weeks of the listing.
Wow. So Jan agreed to sit in your house every day for 2 weeks?
Oh no, she uses open house every day. Potential buyers can either text or call the open house sign. It rings all her agent partners at once. That way someone's always available to show the home. Plus, nobody gains entry to the home without being vetted first. And that's why we chose Jan to list our home.
But I'm your nephew.
It's a little corny, but
Hey, it works.
it's easily explained by a consumer. This is why we went this direction, and that's kind of the key. It is an easy part of the listing presentation. And
Let's go from
if
A.
anyone
Whoops.
has any questions, we'd be happy to help them.
2 and 3
Oh
and
no,
4
something else is playing.
and 6 and 7 and 8
Oops,
and
my
1.
video's still playing, sorry. I'm
That's
getting some
okay.
dance instruction for you all now.
Oh, I thought it was a language
fun.
instruction program. I'm sorry.
I have dancers in the house. I think something got in the way there. That's funny. Here, let me put
Sparkles
back to
is
art.
added again.
There we go. Okay, good. All right, so if anybody wants more information on this, where should they be reaching out to you guys?
Well, I mean, it's easy. sales@voicepad.com or our toll-free number, 888-595-7347. For this service, and it is customized for the agent, if you'll mention that you're with the RE Technology Group, we're going to waive all the setup charges, and we'll kind of go through everything for you. But so far, this is generating a lot of leads, and we're really, really proud of it.
So Pat asked you if you could explain how the fees work again, Randy, and what exactly comes with the $39 a month.
Okay, so basically the $39 a month is the service, and it's privately branded to the agent. They can use it on all of their listings, and it comes with the text platform and the sign images, and I've got different size and different types. They're available on the website. You simply download the image and send it to your sign store down the street. They'll make a Coroplast sign. It's much easier and much cheaper to buy signage locally than it is to mail them. So that's why we've decided to go with signed downloadable image. But they are in JPEG and they're in high density. Your sign company will be appreciative of that.
And so it doesn't matter if I have one listing or 25 listings. It's the same price. There's no limit on the number of leads that come through or anything like that?
No, it's no leads. The more listings you have, the more valuable it is. You'll learn over time when to use this and when not to use it. I suggest that if you have an empty house, for example, use it full time, okay? Because it's always clean. If you're marketing properties under construction, full time. But if someone's living in the house, yeah, let them know. We'll do a push on this at this point early in the listing, and if it's not doing, then we'll redeploy it later on before we ask for a price reduction.
Gotcha. And if you already have a, like you say, a pre-recorded virtual tour and or a pre-recorded like live walk-around tour, either of those things could be part of this as well. So you can take things you already have and make them work harder for you, in addition to doing actual live open houses, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you would rather not get the calendar and you'd rather send them the video instead, then that option exists on the dashboard. You can just change it out, and you can send your links to 3D tours, whatever you want, whatever you spent money and time and effort putting together to show that house in the best possible way. We can send that link to them, but in exchange for it, you're getting their phone number and the house they're interested in, and that's the trade-off.
That's the magic right there, right?
There's
no better lead than someone that's standing in front of the house saying, tell me more information about it. I can't believe it's going to be, unless maybe you're in a tourist area where there's a lot of people just driving around, but I don't know. We have that a lot where I live. Who knows?
Well,
right.
The thing about it is it won't be as many junk leads as you might be used to because they're actually physically in front of the house. But thank you, Marilyn.
Exactly. Well, this is great. Thank you so much, Randy, for walking us through this. And you, like so many other technology companies and technology leaders, have really gotten, quickly adapted your technology, adapted the products, understanding that agents need different and new things along with their clients. So I really appreciate that you're doing that for all of the agents in the marketplace, because they need help. So that's awesome.
Well, we eat and drink this industry and have been for the last 20 years. So hopefully time will tell, but we think this is one of the better ideas that we've come out with.
It sure seems like it. Okay, well, let me show for the audience who we've got coming up later this week. Tomorrow we've got Sean Whaling. He's the CEO of eCommission, and he's going to teach us some really good financial lessons. Number one, about how to make sure that we're managing our cash flow in times when we may have, less deals than normal, or things are just not closing as quickly. He's also going to talk to us about commission advances and some of the bad, things that get attached to that really aren't true. So that'll be really fun. And then on Wednesday, we've got Penny McNeese, another one of our good friends. She's the VP of brand marketing for homes.com. And she's going to talk all about how they're leveraging the virtual technologies and how they're going to help you get, listing exposure and leads on homes.com as well. So lots of different ways. We just keep trying to bring new ideas to you guys. I don't know which ones work, which ones don't for each of you, but hopefully it's a good mix of things and something's sticking, right? So let me know if anybody's chosen to work with any of the things so far that we've shown, and if they're working for you. That'd be great to hear from you guys about that. Next, I just wanted to remind or encourage any of you, if you kind of like this format of the 30 minutes in and out, drink your cup of coffee, have your sandwich, and do that, send us your email. You can either put it in the questions right now, and we'll take care of that, or you can send it to me directly at Marilyn@retechnology.com, and we'll take care of getting them registered for you, so you don't have to worry about it. You of course, don't have to go to all of them, but at least you don't have to think about signing on, and you won't miss anything. And speaking of not missing anything, if you would like to, go to YouTube and go look for RE Technology Inc., exactly the way that I've got it written there. And you can subscribe to our channel and then push the little bell that's next to the word subscribe. Get that solid, and then you'll get notified anytime we publish a coffee chat recording. So again, if you couldn't make it for whatever time, or you wanted to see something again, there's another place to get it super easy. And also wanted to encourage all of you to register for RE Technology. If you have not yet, first thing I would do is check with your MLS. Look either in the dashboard or where there's lots of, like product links, and see if RE Technology is included. If it is, feel free to register there, and that won't cost you anything. If the MLS has not yet offered it to you, we're happy to give you a free 3-month subscription. Just go to retechnology.com, go to the top right-hand bar, use the monthly option for subscription, and then use the COVID-19A or B or M, depending on what type of a person you are. And you'll get a free 3-month subscription, because we want you to be able to take advantage of all these great pieces of education and webinars and articles and product searches. There's all kinds of different ways that we can help you. There's also a tab called Success Guides. If any of you haven't checked that out, I would look. There's success guides on several different types of product categories, so they can help you, just get another set of information about how to buy it the right way, or to see if it makes sense for you. So, yeah. So anyway, thank you again, Randy. I really appreciate you coming today, and again for building this so quickly and making it available to everybody. It's awesome. Thank you again for coming.
It's always a pleasure, Marilyn. Thank you.
You too. So thanks, everybody. Again, tune in tomorrow. We're going to have eCommission, then we're going to have homes.com. We've got a couple of great other ones coming in later this week. For those that haven't been on this before, we do this every single morning, or every single noontime, or every single 10 a.m., wherever you happen to sit. And the whole idea is to help all of you just, again, get some tips and tricks, get some new ideas, hear from the smartest of the smart in our industry and what they're doing to try to help you be the best realtor that you can be in the long run. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you.